I wanted both of you to speak on, like I mentioned earlier, about intentionality as a man or a woman, letting what your intentions, letting your aspirations and your intentions for the relationship be known up front. Let's just start there. There's a couple things I want y'all to speak on, but let's start with you, Miss Return to Sender.
Well, I think there's a big difference between women and men and girls and boys. So, having made that distinction, I think when you're dealing with a boy as a woman, um, you're not going to be able to get those clear intentions. Now, if you're dealing with a grown man, yeah, you can get those clear intentions, verbally. But as a woman, I look for those clear intentions both verbally and through action. And if I don't see action on a man's part, then I basically just go ahead and go my own way. Um, but intentions have to be set immediately. What are you looking for in a relationship? Where do you see yourself in 2 to 3 years? You know, and for people to actually say exactly what they want. Um, as a woman, I have, friends, and many of them are single moms, and they're not really intentional in the way that they speak to these men. A lot of women who already have children don't want to say to these men, hey, I expect you to be almost a father to the children that I already have. You have to voice that. You can't expect for a man to come in to a relationship with you and for him not, if your expectations are for him to be a father to these children that are not his, it's best to let him know that. Or if your expectations are for him to be there, but they already have a father and you don't want, him to discipline your children, that also needs to be said. I think a lot of people run into problems when they're not honest about their intentions from get go.
Miss Return to Sender, do you still work?
No.
Okay. How long ago did you stop working, if you don't mind me asking?
Why is that a question?
Because you said earlier that you don't have kids, and that you said that you've never had the opportunity to like meet someone and fall in love with them. So I was just going to ask you, like, um, is companionship something that you still desire? Like, do you feel fulfilled in life?
I do, but I'm just letting it happen. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not currently looking for it. I'm not dating. Um, I'm not looking for companionship, but if I were to happen to meet someone, I'm not even really sure, to be honest with you, because I don't really trust people. But I do know that I know what I'm looking for if I do find it.
Okay, I'm about to ask you a question. I'm not being facetious when I ask you this question.
Sure.
Like, have you had like a really bad experience or really bad experiences with men to where you may be emotionally damaged?
Um, I would say no.
Okay.
I've had bad boyfriends, but I feel that those bad relationships were due to me not looking at the signs that were clearly there for me.
Okay. It's
So,
understandable.
yeah. Because
Okay.
whenever anything goes wrong, you have to take accountability for your part in the situation. And so through my healing, I've been able to take accountability for my actions. And I had to basically be accountable for the fact that I saw red flags and I skipped over them.
Okay, I want to ask you one more question. How old did you say you were again, ma'am?
I'm in my 40s.
Okay, so when you say you never had the opportunity to meet a man and fall in love with him. So look, when I used to be on here, I used to say all the time that women definitely be having men that want to make them the star player of their team. So when I say that, I mean women be having men that actually like only want like really want to be exclusive with them, fully commit to them, not be running around with a bunch of other women. But a lot of the times, those women are either not attracted to those men, physically, or those guys are just not their quote unquote type, whatever the case may be. So they often spend their time and waste their time with no good men, men that don't have any aspirations to like have a serious long-term commitment with them. And then they wake up one morning and they're in their 40s, and now it's like oh, I never had the opportunity to be, have meet this man. But I just personally don't be believing that for a lot of women. For men, I can believe. And I'm a young man, but life is hard for men, so I can believe a lot of like I know there's a lot of older men out there that just never had their way with girls, but I don't really believe that the other way around. So what do you have to say to that?
Well, I think that every person is different. I'm in my 40s and
Hmm.
I've had two boyfriends in my lifetime. And that is because I spent most of my time working
Right.
and going to school. That having a man was never a priority for me and still isn't, obviously. Um, I just never really made a large percentage of my time going out to meet people. I don't hang out, I don't go out to meet people, and I've never done that. And so getting the chance to meet people has never been something that I do. I don't have Friday nights, I don't have nights with the girls, I don't do any of that. So when I was younger, I just didn't have that opportunity. I didn't choose that opportunity. Life is expensive. I have to work. I chose that over trying to meet people and try to meet guys.
But so would you say, as I'm talking, and just be honest, even if it's not 100%, would you say that you're happy and fulfilled?
I would say so, but with that said, I feel like I have a long way to go with working with myself. So am I fulfilled? Um, I I'm not where I need to be when it comes to working with myself, I
Uh,
would say.
But if you've spent so much time with yourself throughout your
Hmm.
life,
Yes.
how like even in your 40s can you feel that you like how much work do you think still needs to be done? And if you could go back in time, would you have like prioritized actually trying to build your social skills and even work on connecting and networking with people, because that's
Uh,
an,
I,
that's
I
important in life.
I would think so, yes. But I also, you don't know me, but I also had a point in my life where things were cut off. I had a stroke a few years ago, so everything has started all over again for me, where
Okay.
I had to, teach myself how to do things again on my own. Um, and I'm still dealing with that. So I think what it is that every person is different. And when you see, oh, she's a woman in her 40s, she's had all this time, yeah, that would make sense. But you don't know that I had to basically start from scratch and basically start a life all over again. And and then also do that by myself, but I don't see it as a bad thing because when I was in the hospital, everyone was saying, well, do you have kids? Do you have a partner? I said, no, I don't have kids. And they said, well, this rehabilitation would have been really hard for you if you had kids because kids are, that's a daily, hourly job. And that's not something I could have done, during my rehabilitation. So at this point, I see myself in rehabilitation mode. So when, and thankfully, when people look at me, they can't tell that I've had a stroke. Most of my issues are in my brain, and that's where the rehabilitation and working on myself is coming from. But it's I don't blame you for having those preconceived notions, because you don't know me and you don't know my life. But um, that's what I mean where I say, hey, I'm working on myself. Um, and at this point, I don't really know what I could offer a man because everything in my life is so immersed around me and taking care of myself. So I, unless this is a man that is okay with me working on myself and, is okay with supporting me as I work on myself. But, relationship is a 50-50 thing. And I don't have that 50-50 to put onto a relationship. And I don't think it would be fair to the next person unless that was something that they wanted, where they're understanding that this person needs their, time to for support. I don't, that's something that I would have to go out and seek. And I don't think at this point seeking outside help from a man in a relationship, maybe in a friendship, but a relationship, I don't think would be good for me at this point.
No, that's understandable. I respect that. At least you know that definitively right now, and it may change later. But you're not going to put yourself or somebody's son in the position that's not going to work for either party. Thank you, Miss Return to Center. I'm going to have Mr. Humblezilla want to say something, and then I'm going to have Miss Brittany speak. Go ahead, Mr. Humblezilla.
Yeah, I'll get into the intentional part. I'll let I can't even see her name, Brittany. I know a lot of Brittany's, okay, but hello to you. Uh, she is well. Look. I'm just gonna say she's a nice looking woman, okay. Every I don't want nobody to really read into that. I'm just saying, okay. We all come on camera. We don't get to pick how we look. People be like, "Oh, you're not appealing," and I don't look cute. I'm just saying the woman looks nice, okay. No insecurity type stuff, okay. I'm just saying she looks nice, okay. So anybody in the comments trying to go expand, I just wanted to address that. First thing, I only got two things to say, then I'm gonna mute. First thing is, ladies, okay, I don't come here to be insightful. Noble knows me. So, I'm not here to be insightful. People who know me and be like, oh, you don't know him if you get offended by what he about to say. So I'm gonna say it like this. If you dealing with a man, okay, ladies, and y'all should know this. I would hope y'all know this, but clearly y'all don't, so I'm gonna say it to you. If you dealing with a man and you got kids and you have to say out of your mouth to him that you got to be a father to my children, you're already in the red with this guy, okay? He should know by just talking to you that you have time that is limited. So I should not be wasting your time. Them kids, little kids, need their mother. You know what I'm saying? Need that. Especially if the man ain't there. I'm hoping the man is there, but if he's not there, why am I coming into this woman's life to waste her time? So if you got to tell this man that you got children and he got to be a fatherly figure to them, you got to tell him that, you're already in the red. And then the other thing I want to say, I think you were speaking about first of all, I just got into the healthcare field about 4 years ago. I worked in marketing for 12 plus years, uh, two Fortune 500 companies. And, I just COVID happened. I got into healthcare. I got into something I never thought I'd be able to be doing. And it's just crazy. You say you had a stroke. I work on a cardiac unit myself now. But I just think that this is why intentional dating is so important, because, and this is not to use it as an example, it's just to use the whole thing of it happening. A stroke can happen to anybody. Anything ill happening to you, sickness happening to you, sickness and health. That's why they say it in your marriage vows. Like, there's stuff that's going to happen to you in life, and you may not be able to have the use of your arms or legs. You get in a bad crash, any of that. You got a woman, if you're a man, okay, I'm gonna speak to the men. You got a woman that's going to be there for you. I would hope she's going to be there for you, because, you know, you should be this great man. She shouldn't feel like because you got in this car accident you can't walk no more that she's gonna divorce you. I would hope that that's not the case. Some of y'all men, they gonna do that too because you ain't great enough. But I'm talking to the men who, you know, do want to be in meaningful relationships. If you get with a woman, okay, and you get married and something happens to you, like you have a stroke and now you can't use the left side of your body, like she said, you got to go to rehab. They ask you these questions because if you're a parent and you only got one half of your body that you can use, you can't take care of that kid properly. But if you have a husband or a wife, somebody else is there to help you. That's why they ask, who are you living with? How old are your children? Do they need your assistance? Now, if you're alone and you don't have anyone, rehabilitation is going to be even harder because it's mentally there. And now you have to go through all these things where you can't use your hands or your arm, or, you know, whatever happens. Strokes are different for some people. It's part of the brain. It's just different. So when you don't have someone there to support you, which is when you're in a meaningful relationship or a marriage, that person is there to support you through sickness and health and all those things. So when you don't have that, it's a negative, and it's not going to be great for you, and you're not fulfilled. I mean, it's easy for me as a man to say I'm not fulfilled because there's a woman that should be in my life at some point when I'm willing to do that. But, you know, we all say we're single by choice. You're single by choice because you're making the choice to be single. If the person that you were looking for was in front of you, I would hope that you would pick them. But some of us are such bad people that if we picked them, we would ruin them, even though we know we want to be good people. So when you're intentional, not to go into it because I said I wasn't going to go into it, but to be intentional as a man is to understand your role in the relationship, being a leader if that's what you need to be. Sometimes some of these men will take a backseat to a woman. Won't be me, but I get why some of these men will take a backseat. Some of these women is bosses. They run companies. Hey, you want to go out here and rap and dance and all that? He might want to live a lavish life. I don't know. Some of y'all men is willing to sign up for that. But being intentional in dating starts with you as a man knowing what you can bring to a relationship and what that woman brings to you. And then you can build everything else in between there. That's what life is about. Building a life in between your expiration date and the date you came on this earth. And so many people that want to keep talking about the negative instead of just working on themselves so that way they don't have to be the negative in their own relationship. They should just work on that. So just be intentional, because I didn't mean to go into it, but just be intentional so that way you can have somebody in your life when you do go through something tragic, you got somebody there to help you. Because being alone and doing it, I promise you, ask all them people, did they like doing it? I'm going to guarantee you they're going to say no.
I have to agree. It wasn't easy. I'm going through it myself right now. I'm glad that I don't have children to take care of, but it's not easy. And one of my reasons for not looking for a partner at this time is because I know how hard things are right now, especially financially for most people. And I don't want to feel like a burden to anyone. And I've decided the best thing for me to do is to work on myself, work on my rehabilitation, and, you know, go from there. Now, if someone were to come into my life, I could say that I might give them a chance, depending on the person, but I don't have very much patience for any, you know, foolery at this point in my life.
Okay, Miss Brittany Kelly, thank you for waiting patiently, man. We see you with your connected headphones in over there. What do you have to say to us?
um, I'm trying to follow what the question is exactly because there was a lot to digest
Yeah.
from
So,
what everyone said.
yeah, I want you to speak on because not too long ago, I haven't been on here too long. There's this rapper named Big Sean, and there's this R&B singer named Janae Aiko, or whatever
Hmm.
her name is. They've been dating almost 9 years now. They have a kid. The rapper Big Sean was in an interview with Charlemagne the God, and Charlemagne the God asked him like, "Why haven't you married her yet?" And to be honest with you, he really just said a bunch of nothing.
Hmm.
So my and he's receiving a lot of backlash because there's all these women on the internet, especially black women, that are like, "Oh, he doesn't love her. He doesn't care about her at all. He's wasting her time." And my whole thing, Britt, was like, as a man or a woman, before you get into a relationship with someone, if you're someone that's quote unquote dating with intention, it is
Hmm.
your duty and obligation to inform the other person of, your aspirations and what you desire out of the relationship. So as
Yeah.
a man or as a woman, if you know that you are someone that has a desire to be married, to start a family, you need
Hmm.
to communicate that with the other person. Um, and if you don't communicate that with the other person, then you can't say that your time is being wasted because you never communicated that with them to start off with. So my whole thing was, there's a lot of women that be saying that, there's a lot of women like to say, "Oh, you know my time was being wasted," or men be wasting women's time. No, they don't. And
Hmm.
men, and there's men that like to say women be wasting their time too. No, they don't.
Right.
Like, as a grown adult, if you can't communicate what it is that you desire out of a relationship, you can't say that your time is being wasted. So I want you to give your thoughts on intentionality. And
Hmm.
then I also want you to speak on why you think, a lot of men, young men like myself, even though, like, I do aspire to be married one day, but why you think a lot of young men, middle-aged men, like Humblezilla, and even older men, have, you know, kind of are off the whole marriage thing. Why do you think that is?
Okay. Okay. So the first part, with Janae Aoki and Sean, the rapper. Um, yeah, I 100% agree what you were alluding to as far as, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. I just want to make sure. My sometimes it's kind of weird, but yeah, I 100% agree that it's her fault. If someone is dragging you along for 9+ years and they have not given you a ring, it's not about whether or not they love you. It's about whether they respect you because they know that's something that you desire and you want. You want the finality of the relationship. And also, you want the protection, right? Because there's one thing to have a baby with someone, there's another thing to be legally bound to them, and they can make medical decisions for you. They can make financial decisions for you. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a business. So the fact that they don't respect you enough to enter into this business contract says a lot. So that's on her for having a child outside of that business contract with him, knowing that they have been dating for so long and he never committed to that with her, but he was willing to almost commit to those things with someone else. I think that says a lot. And I think that's something that she needs to think about and iron out. Look at her upbringing with her father. I know her father had multiple mothers. That's why she's sisters with Tinashe. So she might need to just heal her own broken wounds and come to a realization that she does deserve to be respected as well as loved, to make concrete decisions for him and their relationship. But that's just my outside opinion. I don't know. What was the other part about men?
Yeah. I played a video earlier of um academics just saying, yeah, you can ask a question, Miss Eve. I played a video of academics earlier just saying how we're in the era of the baby mama and the baby daddy. The woman, he was saying how the woman that, modern women look up to, they're not preaching, and this is just facts at the end of the day. They're not preaching, they're not, pushing relationship, they're not pushing marriage, they're not pushing being in exclusive committed relationships with a man. They're not pushing anything that's, conducive to being in a happy, healthy relationship with a man and doing things to, get a man to want to commit to you long term. That's essentially what he was saying. Good night, Mrs. Chavez Lopez. You are a very beautiful woman, and hopefully, you and I can talk, some other time. But so he was just saying like we're in the baby mama and baby daddy era, and he was
Um,
saying that he thinks a lot of women have accepted that, they're not going to get married. So yeah, that's what he had to
I
say.
I think people tend to speak to their personal circles a lot. So I think he says everyone, but he's speaking to the environment that he surrounds himself in because that's just not the normal for me. In fact, if my friends call me, let's say they call me and they're not married and they're still like, "Oh, Brittany, I'm pregnant." And there's this long pause. And then like, but we're about to get married. We're gonna be engaged. Don't worry, because they can feel the heat coming from me. Concerned, of course, loving. I'm happy for them, but I'm concerned. I want to make sure that they are being smart and planning a situation that's going to best fit them and the child and not this man spreading his seeds across the earth. So they can feel that. So I don't think that that is the case, that everyone is just okay with those situations. I think there's been a lot of gaslighting. I think there's been a lot of women who do look to social media and they do see it normalized and people acting as if it's not a problem because they won't actively say, yeah, I got pregnant prior to what I wanted out of the situation, but I'm hoping that we will get married. Instead, they're like, I'm a baby mama. I never thought I would be, but like here I am, and they just leave it there and they're not talking about the nuance and the reality of the fact that yeah, you're better protected if you have marriage, if you have a contract, if you have something in place with this man, and certainly not being baby mama number 7, 12, 8. It's crazy. So I would hope, especially for black women and the black family, that that's not the case. I would hope.
But
I
Brit,
don't think so.
but Brit, do you with the way things are looking right now, especially within the black community, like if I said like the nuclear family is for the most part largely non-existent within the black community in 2024, would you agree or disagree with me?
I'm probably in an unpopular opinion is that I have to disagree, but that may be just reflective of my own circle. And I'm saying that understanding that everyone's circle is different and that some people may have more baby mamas within their circle and they feel like that's more prevalent. But for me and for the people that I know, it's not that prevalent. No, not at my age. People, no, no, it's not. It's more normal to be divorced and like getting into your next marriage and still in your kids and y'all are trying to like navigate the scheduling with your children at this age and circle that I'm in now than you are unmarried, you never had kids, or you have kids and you're baby mama. It's just that's just less common.
Okay. Um, what are some as a married woman and as a mother yourself, if a black woman that's like in her mid early 20s to mid 20s, I'll say even to late 20s, that she knows that she aspires to have a family one day and she wants to be married and she wants to do things quote unquote the right way. you know if she said, Miss Brittany, how do I what are some telltale signs of a man being dusty, of a black man being a broke boy? Of what are some telltale signs of a black man that I should just completely avoid? What would you tell her?
Dusty is so mean. Um,